Hello, and we are live with the Modern Mystery School UK and EU, and we've got a very special edition for you tonight, a presentation on Kabbalah by Ipsissima Theresa, who is an Ipsissimus of Kabbalah, and Martina Coogan, who is a senior Kabbalah teacher. Welcome to you both, and thank you so much for taking the time this evening to share with us a little bit more about Kabbalah. And if I may, just hand over the floor to you both.
Okay, well, thank you, Davina Kate. Thank you, everyone who's also joining us for this live streaming of Kabbalah, or for those of you who are watching the replay. We are looking forward to sharing with you a bit about Kabbalah and how we teach it in the Modern Mystery School. And I'm very delighted to also be sharing the stage here with my colleague and co-teacher, Martina Coogan. Anything you want to say to just open up, Martina?
Thank you, Ipsissima Theresa. Yes, this is an amazing opportunity because I think one of the questions that I get asked most about in my life when I speak about who I am and what I do is Kabbalah and the essence of Kabbalah and the power of Kabbalah and the concept of Kabbalah.
Yeah, I have so many people who, it's like their ears perk up. They get really interested in Kabbalah. And, it's funny, when I first heard about Kabbalah, it was from the Modern Mystery School. I actually had never heard the word before. That was back in 2001. And it was a completely new word for me. Never heard about it. And so it went, but every time they talked about it, and it was when I was in the Empower Thyself training, when I was in that first step of initiation within the Mystery School, and they kept talking about Kabbalah, every time they mention it, even though the words they were saying were lost on me, it was the feeling that I got inside, this feeling like, I got to know more. There's some excitement here. There's something intuitively that's drawing me in to know more about it. And I think that comes up for a lot of people. Like they feel that energy, that excitement of it, and some intuitive draw to it.
Yes, I totally resonate with that. And mine, when I was in Empower Thyself, which, for those of you listening or will be listening in the future, in our lineage, in the lineage of the Mystery School, we have a path of progression. And I was very fortunate to be invited to have a life activation and to go to Empower Thyself. And when I went to Empower Thyself, to be honest with you, I was not at that time in my life ready to study. I felt, I've studied a lot in the education system, and I'm here to chill out now and to enjoy life, because I had what at that time in my life was all my boxes of success ticked off. I had a home, I had a permanent and pensionable job, I had stability. But like you, Ipsissima Theresa, when my guide started speaking about Kabbalah, I wanted to go. I wanted to go right then and there. And I did shortly after. And this concept of ascension. And to be honest, I really didn't know the difference between initiation, activation, and ascension. But I did go, and I folded my arms when I was sitting there, because I thought, she's not going to change my frequency. What's this? This is I know who I am. And at the time, I knew so little about myself. And I knew so little about the micro and the macrocosm, the universe, the flow of light, the frequencies, the vibrations. And when I look back now, 20 years later, I think, oh boy, did I have a full cup or what?
Yeah, I can relate to it, but from a very different perspective, because I was actually in graduate school still studying to get my PhD in physics. And so I was on a search for the deeper answers to some of the bigger questions in life, about ourselves, about the universe, about creation or cosmology, all of these big questions. And the biggest thing that I was searching for was a sense of deeper purpose and meaning in life and joy. And Kabbalah ultimately was the thing that helped bring those to me. I wouldn't say it was just Kabbalah, actually. I would say it was the whole path, the whole path that we do within the Mystery School. And each step along that path gave a different key. You know, like the Empower Thyself first step of initiation gave me that realization that there is a path, first of all, and that hope and that like sense of coming home and finding community and the sense of belonging, and then the tools to be able to really start accelerating my own personal progression. The life activation that you mentioned, that really lit up, you know, and it really started the process of aligning me with more of that purpose and that potential, and a more self-awareness, a more intuitive sense of the right steps to be taking to really fulfill that purpose. And then I got into Kabbalah, and I also got into the Healers Academy. And when I learned how to start doing the life activation, which we learned at the Healers Academy, that is actually, it was through that service of doing the life activation for others that I found joy. And then Kabbalah, I felt, gave me the map, the structure within which I could take all these different things that I was learning, whether it was in physics or it was in metaphysics, or it was about relationships, or it was about myself, or, you know, any of the various things that I had explored and studied prior. Kabbalah gave me that map where I could pull all of them together into this coherent whole and start making more sense of it, see how it all connected, and gain deeper insights into the whole process, and understand what it was that we go through in this sort of journey of personal transformation. So I felt that the whole package, so to speak, the whole combination of the path of initiation, the activations, and the ascensions of the tree of life in Kabbalah really created this very comprehensive system for personal growth and transformation, and coming into greater alignment with purpose and higher potential.
Absolutely. And I suppose, you know, as I look now, as I stand here 20 years after being activated and initiated and ascended, you know, it all makes such great sense to me. But for when I was there, and for the listeners, maybe, because I think Davina Kate said, you know, we have some new listeners on with us tonight, and we have some people searching that will, I'm sure, find this in the future. You know, I was seeking, but I didn't know what I was looking for, because my mind was confused. My mind was polluted. My being, the essence of my being, had layers of stuff that wasn't me. What I had inherited, what I had taken on, what I had done to myself, what I had received. You know, I had layers of stuff that wasn't my true being, my true essence. And what you know, when I think back now and when I look back, you know, I was searching first for purification. And we need the activation to bring the light in. You know, it lights us up, but then we need the tools, the rituals of initiation to communicate with all aspects of ourselves, and to keep, because we can in a way say rituals are like a language. We're able to, you know, converse, we're able to speak, we're able to communicate outside of ourselves, within ourselves, through our higher self, our inner self, our divine being. And we need those. And that's why, you know, today on the path of progression, we have, it's always adepts, and here in London, we're going to be having life activation practitioners. And I'm super happy about this, because then we're able to have that transformation at a very deep level. Because when we ascend the tree and we live the initiatory steps together, we're able to incorporate all things. And when we incorporate everything in our daily lives, we have magic every day. We have a life that is full of joy, that is full of purpose, where we're able to serve the way we truly want to, not in the slavery mentality of working that 9 to 5, but using our true gifts, what makes us the divine expression of who we are, and sharing that with others, empowering others, opening the door for others, giving opportunity to others to transform their life, to purify their life, and to incorporate who they truly are into this life today, right now, right here. And that's where I feel like, oh my goodness, I want to do this all day, every day. And that's what I chose to do. I chose to leave what I had set up as a successful life to serve people at this level every day, because that's what's going to create true transformation and peace on earth. Not reading it from a book. It's living it, all of us living it every day.
Well, in Kabbalah, very much is the study of life, and it's about living life alive. And you mentioned not reading it from a book. I mean, the books are important to read, but they are static. You know, they're a static kind of representation of one lens, one angle, or one perspective of looking at Kabbalah, whoever was that author. And that was their perspective. But the tree of life and the system of Kabbalah is so vast and so dynamic and so alive and so multidimensional that it is, you can only really learn about it by living it.
Yes.
And it has to be done through an in-person kind of experience with a teacher who can deliver to you the teachings that are right for you, you know, so that it helps you to understand it. Because Kabbalah, we are the tree, right? And the tree is within our own DNA. And it is about learning about ourselves through the lenses, or through the ways of looking at ourselves through the tree, learning to ask the right questions and then find the answers from within. And you know, I love this system of the Universal Hermetic Ray Kabbalah that we work with in the Modern Mystery School, that was brought to us and brought out to the public in a way. The Modern Mystery School is opened up by founder Gudni Gunnarsson. And I love the system that he brought to us. And this is just one of many levels of Kabbalah that we work with in the Mystery School. But within the Universal Hermetic Ray Kabbalah, it's one of these things where we learn about Kabbalah in its own pure essence, without it having to be tied to any particular religious dogma or any particular like one set of ways of looking at it. If anything, we might work with it more through the somewhat of the Golden Dawn system of Kabbalah and the correspondences that they work with. But ultimately, what we're doing is bringing it to life and helping you learn about you, your purpose, who you are, what you are, your gifts, your greater potential, your connection to the divine, learn about your soul, really deepen those connections and so forth. And it's a journey of ascending the tree while we learn about ourselves, while we clean up the layers, the lenses, the maybe, let's say, the misprogramming that's happened within our soul, and cleaning up the subconscious mind so that we can truly come to this place of anchoring who we really are, and fully embodying that higher self, that divine self, and bringing it fully to life in this here and now, in our physical life, in a way that we can live life with joy, that we can have abundance, that we can live a very purposeful and meaningful life, that we can be fully connected with our knowingness of our divinity and our spirit. And yet, as you said before, that service, that ability to go out and serve, is so critical to what we do as Kabbalists. You know, and maybe we can have a little discussion about what we mean by service in the Mystery School and why it's so important when it comes to Kabbalah and our ascension process.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think this is this word in time, words in the English language change. They change over time. And sometimes, like yourself, when I teach in different parts of the world and I say a word, there's a different reaction from it. So when we hear the word service, we're thinking about one human providing something for another, whether we go out to dinner or we go to a hotel or, we're driven somewhere. We have a service industry, right? But in the Modern Mystery School and in Hermetic Universal Kabbalah, when we speak to service, it has a totally different meaning. It has a totally different level of expression, because what we're every step in a way is leading us to that unique task, that gift, that purpose that all of us have come in with. And many have come in with multiple degrees of that and big tasks that they've set themselves to do while they're here in the physical. And when we know those, when we're able to deliver them, when we're able to express them, when we're able to fulfill them, we have this, it's like love in action and movement. You know, when you take a day and you go to the spa and you get treated so well and you just say, oh, I just love this. I want to feel this frequency inside of me all the time. And when you're able to elevate another human to know themselves at a level that they did not already, there's such a magical process in that. And there's an overflow of love, an overflow of joy, an overflow of gratitude. We send this out and it comes back tenfold, hundredfold. So when we speak to service, we're reminding, we're elevating, we're acknowledging, we're providing the opportunity for people who were like me, who were ticked off the boxes, but still weren't happy, who were lost in the mundaneness of physicality and had lost that connection to the true self. And we provide that. And we can do this in the world in hundreds of different ways. It doesn't have to be one way, but we have to move ourselves to that place. And in our lineage, on the path of progression and on the ascension of the tree of life, we provide the student. The student has the opportunity to elevate themselves to be in the true divine frequency, and they're able to deliver who they truly are. They're able to know themselves and deliver who they came here to be. Because, yeah, we came here to be physical, but, you know, like Founder Goodney always says when he's teaching, it's like a click of a finger. It's just a second of your life. And the world gets us stuck in that. But we're here to live life alive and live it with our purpose, alive with our purpose, flowing with our divine expression and reminding others of their divinity too, wakening us all up to the divine codes within. And Kabbalah does that so, so beautifully. And the beautiful part is that we can keep doing it for ourselves afterwards.
Yeah. You know, one of the other things about Kabbalah is that we say it is the study of the divine essence within, the God self, coming to know oneself as a divine being. And how can we possibly really come to know ourselves as a divine being if we're not also out there serving others and helping them to wake up to their divinity? Because we actually learn about ourselves. We come to know thyself through the reflection of the people we serve, through, you know, that process of getting out there and helping remind others of their divinity. It's a reminder back to ourselves. And as we then are out there, and that is ultimately what we mean in the Mystery School by service is to, you know, reawaken and empower people towards their divinity. It's not about making their life more comfortable. It's not about just providing, you know, a good service in the way that, you know, we think of in the service industry. It's not about like poverty. It's not about rescuing themselves, you know, rescuing them from their own suffering. It's not about that. Those are, you know, maybe charity, maybe philanthropy. But here in service, we mean reawakening people to their divinity, empowering them to step fully into that. And in the process, we are also doing the same, right? And if we recognize ourselves as God, then that's also a recognition that we are all that divine being. We are all one. And how can I possibly become, you know, my fullest God self if I'm not also reaching out to others who are reflections of that divinity within me as well and helping them awaken to it, right? As we all awaken, we can go to the next level. So this is why we feel that being somebody who's actively in service is such an important part of the process of really truly ascending the tree of life, because we are a part of the process of ascending is not just acquiring the knowledge, right? That's one element of it, is acquiring the knowledge. But then we got to take that knowledge and we have to apply it. We have to live it. We have to test it in our life. And in that process of the application and living it, making it come to life, we gain understanding.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we teach in the mystery school is that you got to teach what you want to master, or put it into action in service to really master it. Because as you then step truly into service from a certain level of understanding, you ascend, you raise your vibration, because the energy flows through from that divine place, that higher vibration. It flows through you as the vessel to then serve and flow it to whoever it is you are helping wake up. Whoever you're activating, whoever you're initiating, whoever it is you're serving, and reminding them of their divinity. And as we are actively in that flow, as that conduit for that light to flow through, it raises our vibration. That is what ascension is about.
Yes.
And so we can't actually really fully ascend the tree without being active in that service, as well as living it for our own lives.
And sustaining ourselves there. It's the service is the fuel that keeps us going. Service is what, if you said to me, oh, I'm going to give you 6 months off, I'd be like, no, I don't want that. I want to do, because in doing, I sustain myself. So we can walk the path of progression and we can ascend the tree. But if we don't serve, we don't have the fuel to keep ourselves elevated. And that's what this path that we have, the structure, like you mentioned earlier, it's so invaluable, because we have gateways, we have markers on the way that keep saying, oh, just in case you forget, we've got this day here, Professional Integration Day. Oh, just in case you forget, we've got this day where we're going to come together as a community, and we're going to, so we can remind ourselves, because it's easy to forget. It's easy to get lost. But once we get on the path and we stay on the path and we sustain ourselves on the path, once we understand that concept, which I feel is so important, that concept of service, when we understand it correctly and we sense it from within, then we're limitless.
Yeah.
Absolutely limitless. We can, through the tree of life, idea, thought, plan, action, we can recreate ourselves, we can manifest, we can, there's no limitation in life. And that's so exciting.
It's such a gift, really, to be able to do service like that in the way that we do it in the lineage, because the light is coming through so much. I can think of so many instances where, I maybe had a session with a client, and I wasn't necessarily feeling my best, but I showed up, I did my work to my rituals and whatnot, my meditation to raise my vibration, to get myself ready to serve that client in the best way that I could. And by the time I was done with that session, doing that life activation, for example, I felt great. I felt, and on the other side of it, I'm like, thank God I had a session to do today, because it boosted me, right? So it's such a gift in our life to be able to be active in the service. And as you were saying, it sustains us. It keeps us in that higher light. It keeps us in that more refined and purified energy, where we're really aligned with the flow of light in our lives. And then that can flow into benefiting everything else. And, I personally found joy in that process. It wasn't like a struggle. It wasn't an obligation. It wasn't there was no guilt around it. Like, oh God, I have to do that, or dragging my feet. It was just like, oh, I get to do this. Okay. I know it's going to take work to get out there and find the people who want this. But every time I got to do it, it was like, oh, wow, that I learned from it. I benefited from it, and it brought joy. It brought fulfillment. And, I had this point in life where I was still in graduate. So actually I was actually working at a national lab, and I was doing basic science. I was actually in the non-proliferation unit of Pacific Northwest National Laboratories. And I was just doing, research in the lab on detectors. And nobody other than, the people who are my higher ups really cared about what I was doing and me. And then on the other hand, I was doing these life activations, finding people who I could do these life activations on and having a direct impact in their lives. And I had this contrast of, the job and the basic science and the research and doing something that most people could maybe find some meaning out of. But it was like, for me, it was like, I'm just a worker here. And then on the other hand, doing something that really had a direct impact in people's lives, where they came back and gave feedback like, wow, I've had migraines for so many years in my life, and now I haven't had any since that life activation. Like, or wow, I had this realization about myself, and I healed something really deep that I didn't realize I was still holding on to. And, just things continued to unfold in their lives. And it was like, wow, that I really had a direct impact, and that was really meaningful. Like that's special. And that was where I found joy in this path and in this process. So this, I think they really go all hand in hand.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the true essence of every human has light, is light, and wants more light. And once I understood that inside of me, because, you mentioned there's something that, we have these amazing tools, and then we're going to share them. We have to, other people want to have that as well, but we've got to be able to communicate it with them. And once I discovered that, something major shifted in me, because everybody wants more light. We all want more light, right? And when we share that light and we help people to bring the light into their lives themselves, it's like there's a strength in that that's undescribable in it. There's a magic in it that's undescribable. And that's the beautiful thing about being a practitioner for myself. I know that I can do it, and which I love about the lineage, but also sharing it, being a teacher, being a guide, ascending people as a Kabbalah instructor. It's like people come back to give you these extraordinary testimonials. And sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes it's years later, because the light comes in and it never stops flowing. And it's so powerful. And the light, it enlightens us, it brings light, enlightenment, but it's also healing. But it also helps people to make choices that they might never have had the confidence to do, might never have had the strength, the understanding, and they would have been stuck. They would have, I saw something on today when I was out, and it says, don't live your life every day the same your entire life. But that's what happens if we don't have direction, if we don't have light, if we don't have another opportunity. We get stuck in a rut. And I can relate to that. Until I met the Modern Mystery School, I thought doing the same thing every day was an amazing achievement. And then I got onto this path, and the light started to flow, and everything started to improve for me. And I was like, okay, I can do so many things. And that's the extraordinary thing. So the testimonials, the many people that then have the ability to do the same. And I think that's such a powerful legacy of our lineage, because it works for everybody, because everybody has the ability to bring the light into their lives and to share it with others. And that's pure service.
Yeah.
Pure service.
So let's talk a little bit about Kabbalah and the way we do it in the mystery school. Because I think there's people here who are, curious about it. How is what we do different from, what's out there with, something like Kabbalah Center? I mean, there's a number of different schools of thought, let's say, around Kabbalah. And Kabbalah has an ancient history, right? It goes back thousands of years. And it's been very much adapted because it's so alive, because Kabbalah is so dynamic and multifaceted. It's been adapted actually by different traditions. Of course, there's the Judaic, kind of more orthodox approach to Kabbalah, where they study the Torah and Gematria and the Zohar and various other texts that were written by rabbis. And And then there's, you know, another version of Kabbalah where it's been adapted by Christians. There's, you know, and they kind of focus more on the cross and the crucifixion of Christ, and you know, how that relates to Kabbalistic teachings, and how there's you know, many of the authors of the Bible were Kabbalists, and so they've got these sort of hidden Kabbalistic teachings within the Bible. You have Gnostics, even pre-Christian Gnostics, that, you know, have their own sort of approach to Kabbalah, which is about direct experience, you know, direct gnosis of the mystical and the divine. And then you have even a Sufi, you know, kind of Kabbalah. So Kabbalah, you even have the Tree of Life, right? The Tree of Life itself has been in different versions. You know, the symbolism, the concept of a tree of life has been in every tradition around the world. You have the Nordic tree of life, you know, the Yggdrasil, you have the Mayan tree of life, you have tree of life in Taoist, you know, tradition. So this is a universal concept. And within the Universal Hermetic Ray Kabbalah that we work with in the mystery school, it's very much about, like, let's kind of strip away the specific religious tones to it, and let's look at it in its pure essence as a universal system, as a universal symbol. Yet we do work with the Tree of Life that, you know, well, there's multiple versions of the Tree of Life that you can find within the Judaic Kabbalistic system. And we do also work with multiple forms of the Tree of Life as we go. But in the first ascension journey, what we work with is what we might call the standard tree. Actually, I was looking at my books. That's why I don't know if you can see this. So here,
beautiful.
There you go. Okay, there it's in. Yeah. So this Tree of Life is, you know, this is a very kind of Judaic look of one of the versions of the Tree of Life. And we work with this in the first ascension journey because it represents where we're at. It represents us in our very physical kind of way of life, in what we might call the matrix, where it's somewhat disconnected from that higher divine state. And we need to go on an ascension journey to reclaim, to repair, to heal, to in the Kabbalistic system, they talk about tikkun olam, which is the rectification, the healing of the world, but it's also of ourselves. And we, in this journey of ascension, it is a spiritual alchemy process where we are transforming from, or transmuting from ego, and operating our lives based on ego, and we're transmuting up to spirit, so that we can really base our foundation in life upon our eternal being, and so that we can really live from that higher state of who we really are. And as we go through this ascension journey, it's about reclaiming what we call our crown, reclaiming our divinity, reclaiming that direct connection to our highest divine self. And then from there, we are creating a whole new platform upon which to live life, a whole new foundation, that then as we move forward after that ascension journey, it's like the Tree of Life restructures itself. It's in a whole new orientation within us. It's become awakened and alive, but it also transforms to a new level beyond, because it's always evolving. We're evolving, and the tree is evolving with us. And so then we work with, you know, other versions of the tree as we continue to higher and higher levels of the Kabbalistic teachings within our lineage. And so this ascension journey, I think, is really the signature of what we do. It's the signature piece of what's unique about how we do it in the mystery school versus so many of the other systems of Kabbalah. All systems of Kabbalah, I think, are great. Every single one of them has something really valuable to offer and teach. But what I found personally about the way we work with it in the mystery school is it was much more of a lived experience. We were learning about Kabbalah by living it. Your life itself was what was teaching you, but because of the ascension journey, it wakes up your consciousness to be more aware of what life is trying to teach you, to be more aware of what you might need to shift inside, what you might need to let go of or heal that previously was subconscious. But here we with the ascensions, we can shed a light upon it so that it doesn't have to stay like hidden. It can come into the light, and then you can consciously work on it to let it go, to heal, to make new choices, make new decisions about what you want to believe about yourself and about life, and let go of the old programs that came from indoctrination that are not really you. They actually disconnect you from yourself, and then rediscover how you can find those answers from within.
Yep. And, you said, you said something here that I'd like to just remind us all. The glyph is on each of us. When we're born, that structure is inside of us. But unless life's journey causes us to meet that, it'll stay dormant. Mm-hmm. And when we go in the mystery school tradition of ascending, when we ascend into, the world of Malkuth, the Malkuthian world. And it's like all of that, it meets us where we are, and it elevates us to as high as we want to go. And that's such an amazing process, because, in my first tree, when I was there was a gentleman sitting next to me, and he had been 7 years studying Kabbalah. He came with a case full of books, and I had an introduction to Kabbalah, Ted Andrews, and I had only just bought it 2 days before I arrived in class. So we were like opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And yet when we came back, and each student was the same, we had our own direct experience. But what we had in common is we had met vices, we had met virtues, and we had overcome. And we knew that we weren't complete in mastering that. So we had a hesitation, right? And I see this sometimes in students, like, well, should I stay here a bit longer? Because I'm kind of aware now that, I thought life was perfect, but now I realize I've got more work to do. There's more awareness. There's a consciousness that you get to, and then you realize, oh, I just tipped at the top. I'm not even close to the highest awareness. And as you go through each of the spheres, and you go through those, in our lineage, we divide it into 4 ascension processes. So we come together and we ascend into Malkuth, and then we go home, and we have study groups in between that we're guided, and we get a lot, because you need knowledge. We need the knowledge. We need to know what's happening. We need to know the essence of the frequency of that world that we want to vibrate in. And then we go back to the ascension, and we go into Yesod, Hod, Netzach, and Tifereth. And when we're here, it's like all of this, it's like vibrancy, energies, dimensions, frequencies all start moving. Mm-hmm. And with that, we ask a lot of questions. And with that, a lot of awareness comes in. And there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of possibility. Now, there's the potential to look out, there's the potential to the release, and there's the potential to look down and just get stuck in it. But the beautiful thing about the path is that we have rituals, and the rituals keep realigning us. And that's why I'm excited, actually, Ipsissima Theresa, about what we're doing here in London in December. Is we're actually starting a tree for all healers graduates, life activation practitioners, because our communication around transformation, our level of strength to bring light in is going to be quite elevated. Mm-hmm. So the teaching that we'll be able to share at, and the movement, I'm very excited, because this will be the true frequency of Kabbalah at a heightened acceleration. And it's exciting time.
Yeah, it'll be a more advanced group, because they've already got certain foundation that has been established from their taking all the other, the foundational classes, the first step initiation, all the prereqs, getting the Healers Academy, hopefully getting out there and doing some activations. They're going to have a really strong foundation with this group that you and I are going to be leading in London. And And then the tree can come and really help support them to create more structure, to have that map for navigating, and it helps us clean ourselves up so that we can better be our best selves, and so that we can also be better as practitioners, to be in service in as more clear, clean vessels for that light to flow through. And one of the amazing things that I have found about this ascension process is, that each ascension is like a catalyst in our lives. It sets forces in motion. It unveils things within us. And so, we might have been stuck in certain areas of our life prior to the ascension journey. And when we do these ascensions up the tree, sephira by sephira, it catalyzes a transformational process. And whether you're consciously paying attention and participating with it or not, this is one of the things that's so amazing about, how as we come together as a group, and you go through it yourself, but you also are witnessing everyone else and their journey. And there's an incredible bonding that happens through that process. There's just such a beautiful integration as a community that happens through the process. And you really get into some deep, soulful connections with people, because you're going through such a soulful journey as we ascend the tree. And you get to witness each other's transformation as well as reflect it back to each other. And so I've seen so many times through Kabbalah, we'll have different students, like you were just sharing. Some people come, I was one of those people with the 6 books, like I came with, and I read lots of books, each part of my first tree up. And I was very studious and very intellectual about it. And, really wanted to understand. And, the study groups, I showed up and because they were a required part, and in the study groups, we were being led through certain questions that we needed to ask ourselves. And I wouldn't have thought of those questions to be asking myself, right? It was like the study groups were really necessary to help us learn what are the right questions to be asking ourselves, so that we can get to the right answers, because that ultimately is what Kabbalah is about. Is the answers are from within, but we have to learn how to ask the right questions. And so, that process, and then the ascensions, like they just kept catalyzing transformation. And when we'd show up at the next time where we were, together as a group, we'd share what was coming up. And as you said, we'd all kind of start seeing commonality around vices and virtues and strengths and weaknesses and different themes that were coming up. But they were, we all had our own individual journey, but there was also similarity that we could start to see as everyone sort of shared where they were at. And I thought that was really a remarkable thing. And even when there were certain people, whether it was my class or, several of the times when I've taught, I've had people in the class that didn't read a single book, didn't do the work in between. They just showed up. That's all they did. They showed up, they participated in the ascensions, and they sort of absorbed it, but they didn't really take it all in terms of the information, but they kept showing up. And then they wouldn't pay attention to it really much in between. It's not the way I recommend doing it, by the way. But my point is that by the time they got to the end, they still had so much transformation, because the ascensions were catalyzing that transformation. And we do it at a very specific pace, because it's almost like, if you're doing an alchemical experiment, or if you're in a chemistry lab and you're starting to mix chemicals together, there's a certain timing to it. And we need to keep the process moving along at that proper timing, because otherwise things might get a little bit, messy. And so the timing of how we do the ascension journey is really important. That's why it's important to keep going. Once you start, keep going, because you're starting this catalytic process. The alchemy is going to happen. And once you start, you want to see it all the way through to the end, so that it, can be contained and properly managed along the way, versus it getting a little bit messy. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because to complete the journey, we're able to live, as we refer to in Kabbalah, on the middle pillar, and we're able to connect with that the crown, the royalty, the divine, and we're able to bring it down through the middle pillar into, you know, that heart center, into Tiferet, and take the good, take the divine essence, take the beauty down into our foundation and manifest it in our lives. So absolutely, when we start, you know, we have to make a commitment to ourselves. And that sometimes can be a challenge, you know, because we have to commit to us and to working on ourselves, because we're going to, in Kabbalah, I always like to say on the first day, you know, Kabbalah gives us all. It's got everything is contained in it. We ask the right question, but when we go in to study it, it's going to show us the good, the bumps, and the beauty, and what has and what hasn't worked. It's going to give it all to us. And you know, you have to be committed. That is why in the lineage, when we ascend people, we ascend initiates, because you have to be brave to see all of you. And we have the tools to remedy that. And we have the light to realign, to receive and to heal, so that we are able to reclaim our authority, our sovereignty, our power, our pure essence, our true essence. And then when we're able to do that, and we're able to sustain it for ourselves, because if we want to live life as a Kabbalist, we sustain it for ourselves, and we have an amazing life. And we're able to bring that good, that beauty into our foundation and manifest it into our lives every day. And that is so worth it. I mean, you know, we take it for granted, I think, sometimes, you know, how powerful our lineage is and our tools, because some people don't get there until they're in their 80s and 90s, live it out in life. And in 1 year, we can completely realign our lives.
Yeah. And, you know, the being an initiate is very important with this process. I mean, you know, just having had the life activation is super essential, because I've found that people more intuitively align with the light and accept the revelations when they've had the life activation. When they haven't, it's like there's a part of them that just shuts, you know, just kind of rejects or shuts it off. Two, the initiations accelerate our process, right? And we are working with the tree of life, which is our DNA. So we need that light flowing in our DNA in order for the tree to even start to come online for us. But then we need the initiations, because they accelerate our ability to learn, they accelerate our ability to move through our life lessons. They accelerate our ability, they expand our ability to integrate the light and the energy tenfold, right, with each initiation. And then the second step is that ability to serve and to accelerate your flow of abundance through your service. And so all of these are really important, because when we step onto that journey of ascending the tree of life, we are going through a 10-month journey that is an accelerated process of transformation. You can transform more in 10 months what might take most people 10 years to
or
10
more
lifetimes, you know, to accomplish through other methods of personal growth, psychology, whatever, if they ever even get there. There's so much transformation that happens in these 10 months to a year, maybe, depending on the timing, that we do in this ascension journey up the tree of life. So as you said, they need those tools and that greater capacity, that expansion of their capacity to flow the energy that comes from the path of initiation. And then the ability to integrate it by, you know, their personal practice with the tools and the rituals, as well as their ability to serve and integrate and share the light so that it can flow. Because as Sovereign Ipsissimus Dave Lanyon says, the light unshared dies. That we want to light up the flame within us, and that is what we are really doing in this journey. We're kind of clearing off anything that might diminish that flame within us. And then we're lighting it up, but then we have to grow it. We want to increase the flame. The flame is that spark of divinity that rests within our own soul. And we want to really make that flame bright within us. And when that flame is bright within us, we are living a passionate life. We're full of energy. We're full of positivity, that good and that beauty that you were mentioning as we bring it through the middle pillar, a sense of strength to overcome and motivation to overcome the obstacles. Like a Kabbalist is going to look at those obstacles as opportunities for learning, opportunities for personal growth, and to discover new strengths and resources and gifts within you that you didn't even realize you had. And so it's an amazing process of learning about yourself and strengthening yourself and igniting the flame within you through living it, through bringing the tree of life to life in your life is all about life. And as you can see, I think from both Martina and myself, I mean, we love Kabbalah and we love life, and life becomes a very exciting, magical, passionate adventure because our tree of life is fully awakened, and that light is very strong within us.
Mm-hmm. And life gets very exciting. It's interesting because my massage therapist said to me the other day when I went, she said, how do you do all these things in your life so fast? Like, you only mentioned this like the third or fourth last time you were here. How do you get this accomplished? And it is true. Those of us who are Kabbalists and live it, it's like we can do many things because we're tapping into that multidimensional being. And to me, I feel like, well, I know I could do more. It's like we know we can keep growing, we can keep evolving. That flame can get bigger, right? And can be more expansive. So it's really exciting. It's quite exciting. And in London, just to make sure, in case any of the listeners are interested, we're starting a journey for people who want to ascend for the first time, but we're also starting a journey for Kabbalah for Kabbalists, meaning that if you've done it, we can actually go deeper into this holy space and study more and build relationships with all the tree's alive, right? It's the tree of life. It's alive. And there's a lot of beings in there and they're ready to converse, but we have to, be able to hear them, be able to distill the information and be able to apply it. So in Kabbalah for Kabbalists, that journey is also starting in December, which is quite exciting. And it takes Kabbalists to a whole other level. So we have a very, it's not quite the new year in December, but it's like a whole new year of your life when you start either ascension processes. And I know Davida Kate will probably want to jump in and share how that is done and the process of it, because she's managing all of that registration. But it's very exciting. It's like it's a great gift to give yourself in life, and an opportunity that for sure you will experience transformation, purification, alchemy, and growth.
Well, and I'm so glad you mentioned the multidimensionality as well, and how much, manifestation we end up creating through this process, because we're not just clearing ourselves out, we're also learning how to flow the energy from the highest spiritual realms down into the physical manifestation and accomplishing, various goals in a very multidimensional way, yet creating the right structure and focus and ability to do it. And yet, as we ascend, the magic of the tree goes to work for us to also help us. I mean, so people accomplish incredible amount of stuff while they're ascending the tree, because there's just that framework, that structure, and all the beings and all the energies of the tree are supporting them in that process. So just to recap, we have, for those of you who don't yet know about the format of how we do it, we have 4 ascension processes over the course of about 10 to 12 months. And we usually, in those ascensions, we start at Malkuth and we do 2 days. We lay in the sort of the groundwork, the overall pattern that we're going to work with through the whole journey. And we lay that in, and then we do the first ascension into Malkuth. Then there's about 3 months in between the first ascension and the second ascension. Now, these ascensions have to be done in person. They can only be done in person. So, and those will be done in London. But in between the ascensions, there's study groups. So in between the first 2 ascensions, there's going to be study groups on Malkuth Yesod Hod Netzach and Tiferet, 5 Sephiras, 5 Sphirot. And those are going to be available. You can either attend in person or on Zoom. And those are about usually 3 hours on a weekday. I think we've picked Wednesdays as the days, and they're typically about once every 2 to 3 weeks are the study groups. And then
they're really informative. So they're not to be missed. They're like the Cliff Notes, you know. So
I'm just in this process of upgrading them, and they're going to be more than Cliff Notes.
The plus. So this key information in there that will really, really help you when you get to the next ascension. So it's like they're, you know, they step you forward, so you're able to get the most out of the ascensions.
They're helping you prepare and understand what it is you're ascending into, so that when you ascend, you really then can harness the energy and direct it where it needs to go. But first you have to become conscious of where it needs to go. And so the study groups are helping you prepare to become conscious, so that then the ascension can come in and really do the work that is needed. And there's a lot of transformation that happens as you work with the questions and the contemplations and so forth that are given in each study group. You're going to get a lot. Like, there's a lot of value packed in. And so those are typically on weekdays, about 3 hours at a time. Then for the next ascension, so if we start in December, it'll be around March. And then we ascend all the way up to the midpoint on the tree. So it's like a big jump that happens by that second ascension. And that brings us into the very heart, the very center of the tree, the center of the soul. And it's a very beautiful, healing place where we can really come into a whole new sense of connection with our who we really are and our higher self, and reclaiming, you know, more of the true you. And then there's after that second ascension, there's another 3 months, and there will be 2 study groups in between, about once a month at that rate there. On Gvor and Hesed, where we're really working with the dynamic energy and balance between power and love, between mercy and severity, the warrior and the sort of altruistic kind of energies. And then we ascend into those 2. And so that will be, you know, around the summertime. And then we have 4 more study groups all the way up to the very top of the tree, to then prepare for the final retreat that we have, which is a 3-day immersive process. And everything that we do in the year builds up to that final retreat. And it's like just paving the way to prepare you for all that you receive during the final retreat, which is a very holy, very special, very sacred process that we go through, where we call it, you know, major alchemy of the soul and the mind. And you have this opportunity to really come face to face with your own divinity, and or the divine as a whole, this sense of oneness, which is beautiful. And once you've had that direct experience, it's like you move beyond mere belief or hope or faith in a spiritual realm and a divine, and you come to this direct knowingness because you've experienced it. And from there, the whole tree of life is lit up in your life. It's awakened within you. And then the year following, after you've finished Ascension, the year following, there's just as much transformation that happens, because the whole tree is working in your life from that point forward. So it's an incredible journey, and I'm very much looking forward to co-teaching it with you, Martina, and to starting again, and to serving serving all the initiates who are going to come forward for this.
Yeah, quite exciting.
Very. I think we maybe should come on with Davina Kate and have some questions, if anyone wants to be asking any questions.
Yes, that would be good. That's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, some questions that I have been asked that I might just pass on. So, you know, because I'm sure other people are asking. Why is it so important that we are certified? Because I know this is, you know, for Healers Academy. But this is for people that are certified all the way through. So I know some people have done Healers Academy maybe, you know, a half a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And, you know, why is it what, you know, if you can share a little bit on that, that would be great. So that's the question I've been asked as well.
So I'll jump in here, Davina Kate. So in the path of initiation, as you know, we have Empower Thyself, and then we have healers. And Ipsissima Theresa mentioned this just a little bit earlier. When we get to that platform at healers, the light has hit our structure in a way. And we've had healing, because Healers Academy, it's 5 days in this really intense, powerful, magical temple where, you know, it's like every cell in our body vibrates, and we allow that to flow to us. And it's huge, huge healing and a huge amount of light. Our senses change in a way that there's nothing I've ever seen anywhere else. You know, we're able, you know, we have 5 physical, 5 spiritual senses, and we're able to go back out into the world, and we're really able to see things from a different perspective. We're able to understand, we're able to communicate, our awareness changes. Now, in the lineage, we're inviting people to come to study Kabbalah, because the platform for the ascension, the communication, is going to start from there. And the rituals that we have are a way to invoke, a way to purify, a way to align with the light. They're a communication system with what is unseen and what is seen, to incorporate it within us. And it's like, you know, I tell my students, it's like, you know, you didn't know where the light was coming from when you were out in the world, and you got activated, and then you became an initiate, and you had like a funnel that was 10 times bigger, like a reservoir of light sitting here, and you were able to bring that into your life. Now at healers, it's 10 times 10. And all that light is flowing in. So when you do these, more light flows. You have more of a punch. You have more of a draw. You're able to attract. There's more power. There's more authority. And when you come back to Professional Integration Day, you're realigning at that frequency. And it's a bit like there's a door, and you knock on it to come for initiation. But when you come back for Professional Integration Day, it's almost like there's a veil you have to come through, and you have to get yourself through it. You have to step through that and say, yes, this is who I am. And I'm going to take responsibility for this light in my life, and the ability to share the light with others through my words, through my actions, which for us in the lineage is our tools of meditation, our tools of activation, the life activation. We also have the aura healing. So we're able to share that in the world, and we're able to use that. Now, when Kabbalah comes now, we're going to all ascend with that in common, with that realignment together. That's our starting place. So if we, you know, if a student came, we're going to have healers here in a few days, right? And they came in December, they're going to be fresh in that frequency. And then if somebody who didn't come for, you know, let's say 18 years or 10 years, you know, Ipsissima Theresa and I are going to have to get them back to that frequency. It's like there's a lot of language that we have to remind them of. It's like going back to the gym after you haven't been there for 18 years. You're going to have to get realigned to the machines again. So we're asking you to do that in Professional Integration Day to prepare. And the beautiful thing about Professional Integration Day is that you don't have to do it. You know, you could miss a year and come back. And everyone is welcome every year. That door is open every year to come back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love what you're saying, Martina. You know, it reminds me of the empty the cup process that we do. You know, this is something we teach from day one in Kabbalah, which is, you know, you have your cup. Sorry, I'm blurry, but you have your cup, and that cup is full of, you know, whatever it is you think, you know, whatever expectations, whatever resistances, excuses, all of these things, you know, it's the good, bad, and, you know, everything. It's filling your cup. And if your cup is full, there's not much room for you to receive anything new. And part of what happens is if you just sit there with that cup and you never empty it, it gets stale, right? It gets stale. And so nobody wants to drink stale water. And Professional integration day is a process where that stale water gets flushed. It gets flushed out, and you get that light coming back in. You get realigned with the lineage, and this is a lineage teaching that we're doing here. And in the mystery school, the professional integration day, for those who've been to Healers Academy, that professional integration day is a prerequisite to other higher level trainings for everything. And this is going to be a higher level training. Yep. Make no mistake about it. We've had a reset of Kabbalah in the lineage, and we're starting from that reset, and we're going to a much higher level with it now. And so that's why professional integration day is required. Is we need you to get your stale water emptied out, so to speak, and cleaned up, so that you're full, refilled with that new light in the new energy. And we are in a new energy. Like, we're in this new energy of new Shambhala coming through, and it's totally different than it was just 2 years ago. So so it's really important that everyone come back and get into that energy of the professional integration day, the Healers Academy, the light that comes through from that module. I don't know what else to call it. That module that we anchor through that work with the life activation in the mystery school is unique, and Kabbalah cannot replace that. So even if someone were to try and show up for Kabbalah, it's not, Martina and I trying to get them to be caught up with the rest of the group, Kabbalah wouldn't even do that, because it's a different energy. So it's super important that people are in alignment with the light and the lineage and the work that we're doing now in this new energy moving forward, because that is our new platform that we want to start from.
Yeah, very much so. Another please, people that are watching, please put your questions in the comments, or I'm watching my email. If you don't want to put it in the comments, I can field the questions through. Another question that I've had is, everybody's buzzing about the reset, and you know what it's like in the mystery school. Everybody is eager for the and some people that have already taken Kabbalah. Can you tell us, because some people are a bit confused, should they take Kabbalah again, or should they go for Kabbalah for Kabbalists? That's a question that has come up.
It's a good question. It is going to be different. The foundational Kabbalah class is going to be different. And the best way I can put it is that the foundational Kabbalah class, if you've already taken Kabbalah, you do have the tree lit up. You do have the foundational knowledge. You do get what each of the spheres are about, right? So what we do in the foundational class is really helping people understand the essence of each of the spheres, and learn the language. Learn the language of Kabbalah, basically. And then it is a journey into looking at yourself. It's service towards self, but it is really important that we don't forget about service towards others. And we find sometimes that people get so focused on themselves that they forget to serve others. And whereas in Kabbalah for Kabbalists, because the Kabbalists now have that foundation of understanding of the tree, now we can go much deeper with it. Like we can get into deeper concepts that we don't normally have time to get into in the foundational level. And so we can, as Martina was saying, we can work on establishing more personal relationships with the beings on the tree. We can also work with Kabbalah, instead of focusing on just our own sort of self-oriented goals, we can focus on our goals of service, realizing that there's more than one way to serve. There are lots of ways to serve. And we diversify, we become multidimensional in that, and learning why it's so important. And so, it is very much about your deepening of the work as a Kabbalist. It's like through the ascension journey of the foundational, process, we get up to that point where we're in the supernals, and then we make that direct connection. And then as a Kabbalist, we're meant to live with that as our new foundation and build a new tree. And that's what we're doing in the Kabbalah for Kabbalist Ascension. So I mean, I recommend people do Kabbalah for Kabbalists if they've already done Kabbalah, because you want to move forward. You don't want to just go back. But, you know, I think that if you didn't really do the work, you know, because some people don't really do the work in Kabbalah, then maybe, you know, maybe one time of going through the tree, foundational tree again could serve. No, but I think it's important to also recognize, where are you on your path of initiation? And, you know, do you want to kind of repeat with beginner level, or do you want to move forward to the advanced level?
Yeah, and they can always check in as well, because I know sometimes when you're embarking, you know, there's a little bit of intimidation and a little bit of doubt comes in. And, you know, yeah, it's about applying it in your life versus book knowledge. And I think sometimes people feel that, you know, I know the last time that was a conversation I had with a few people, it was like, you know, I haven't memorized everything. It's like, no, it's moving it at a deeper level than that.
Yeah.
So they can always check in, you know, and, you know, we'll happily give them guidance, but progression is key. And sometimes, you know, people do need to reset to get that foundational level. But what I've witnessed is that when they start to work with the Kabbalah for Kabbalist system, as I'm going to call it, they start to really apply the tools immediately. And then there's great fruits from that. And then it kind of pulls everything, it knits it all together, it comes together. So yeah, keep going, dude.
Next question. Just wanted to mention we have some comments I'd like to read out. Can't wait to start. I'm so excited. Sounds very exciting. And can you put me back on the list, please, for Professional Integration Day? There you go. So you know, yeah, I know, because we don't know what we don't know, and Professional Integration Day is so healing. It's so,
it is.
You know, even if you gift that to yourself, like one thing a year, you know, to gift yourself the Professional Integration Day, because it's fabulous. I love both of your explanations for that. So that was key. We have a question in here. How often is Kabbalah offered? I mean,
it's a great question. It's like, you know, it's the Sovereign Ipsissimus. I'm going to quote Sovereign Ipsissimus Dave Lanyon. You know, the lineage has a path of progression, and it has a train system. And sometimes the train comes and it stops, and it almost appears like it's got a time frame. And then more times the train leaves, and we do not know when it is going to return again, because we're a lineage, and the third order are always working with the greater and the bigger picture. And, you know, sometimes those trains don't stop again for 2, 3, sometimes years.
Yeah.
So I wish that we could give you or we could give everyone a definitive answer, but we work with energy, we work with consciousness, we work with the lineage. So we have a great opportunity here in December, because we actually have foundational Kabbalah the first time, and we have Kabbalah for Kabbalists.
And it's been a couple years, I think, since we were able to start one here. And but yeah, I mean, it could be 1 year, it could be 2 years. We don't really know. Yeah, I hope it's not much longer than that, but we don't really know. It depends on so many. Yeah, we see the modern mystery school. True mystery school adapts to the needs of the times and the energy and the situation of the moment. And so yeah, we're constantly assessing what is needed right now and what's priority, what's most important. And so Kabbalah is a branch of the tree. It's not the trunk of the tree. In terms of the path in the mystery school, it's one area of study, and we are hoping to, you know, have this relaunch, you know, get going and get some consistency going, but we just don't know. That really depends on how people show up.
Another question, well, from me again, another question that I get asked is, you know, I'm planning to do RM, or I don't know if it's all too much, or should I be doing this, or should I be doing that? What would your advice be around that?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say if it's an either or kind of question regarding a step of initiation versus Kabbalah, I would always say take that step of initiation. The path of initiation is most important, because that's really where the catalyst and the 10 times, the energy and new tools. I mean, you can't replace the initiation process. What Kabbalah does is it comes in and it helps you maybe put more framework to what you're doing. It helps you have the map to navigate and understand your journey as you're going through the transformational process. And if you get to a certain point on the path of initiation, like let's say you get to second step ritual master and you haven't done Kabbalah yet, well, it's time to do Kabbalah, because it's going to give you a lot more understanding of yourself. And, it's like there's certain inner work that you need to do that until you know the right questions to be asking yourself, you may never touch on it. And so Kabbalah really gives you that guidance system, that navigation system into you and what you need to really look at for yourself so that you can continue to really move forward, because you don't want to just increase in power and not clear, because initiations amplify 10 times the energy coming in with each initiation, and it amplifies the good, but it also amplifies whatever's blocking the light.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kabbalah gives you the framework and the guidance system to support you in clearing out where you're blocking, and really letting it go, really digging in, and doing that internal excavation process, so to speak, so that you can flow more of that light without the blockages getting in the way. So yeah, I think it's an important part of the journey. And so much of what we do in the mystery school is ultimately Kabbalah is at a foundation of it. You'll understand so much more as you go higher on the journey when you have Kabbalah, and you have that lens of the tree to view and understand things through. So it's an important part. But if you're earlier on the path of initiation, I wouldn't put off initiation just to do Kabbalah, right? I think Ritual Master, if you're thinking of going to Ritual Master, for example, versus Kabbalah, go to Ritual Master, because that's like, the deeper, that's like, meeting Morpheus and you get you want the red pill or the blue pill? You take the blue pill and you go back and forget about, everything you learned here, and you take the red pill and you get out of the matrix and see what, the real life is like. That's Ritual Master.
And if you're going to Ritual Master and you want to come into the tree, you can do that. You can do, you can do both. They will work. They'll work together. You'll have growth.
Yeah. I do find that Kabbalah supports your journey as a Ritual Master to really do the work. I find that when Ritual Masters are also ascending a tree, they have the focus to really do the work that they need to do to get to that next level. Whereas when they don't do Kabbalah and they're in the path, I mean, they have tools and they have things that they can do, but it's all self, driven, and it's your self-discipline. Whereas Kabbalah gives you a structure, and the journey of the tree gives you this structure that keeps you really focused and moving and really paying attention to things. And so they work in a very synergistic way.
Mm. Yeah. For me, I had to wait 4 years before I could take Kabbalah, because it was at that time where it wasn't readily available, and I had to travel from the Middle East to Canada 4 times. And and I noticed I was already a Ritual Master at that point, and I noticed the acceleration of my understanding and what I was able and capable of doing. I mean, I was already doing a lot with RM, of course, as we know, but then, like you said, there was that system there. So, I always say, if you can do it all, just do it all. I'm just one of those people. Hands up. I've got another couple of questions here. Number one, somebody's asked about the price, and I can direct you to the website. So if you go to the Modern Mystery School UK.com, website, and if you have a look in December, on December the 2nd, you just click on the link, and it's outlined. All the costs are outlined there. I'm happy to speak to anybody personally about that. You can just message me and I can run through it with you, so it's so that it's clear. I can do that. The other question is there a recommended reading list to look at before it starts?
It's best to come in with an empty cup, but if there was a book that I could recommend, it's the one that Martina mentioned earlier. It's the Ted Andrews Simplified Kabbalah Magic. That's kind of like a primer. It's one of those books you can read cover to cover, and it's just an introduction. Whereas the most of the rest of the books that we recommend, which you will get a recommended reading list in Kabbalah, but most of those are meant for while we're doing the Ascension journey. But the Ted Andrews one, that Simplified Kabbalah Magic one, is a really good sort of intro starter book to work on if you want something sooner. You can also check out lots of videos on my own YouTube. I have all kinds of little videos about the tree. They're old, but they're some of my most watched videos, actually. So that's another thing that you could kind of get some exploration around. I have a question for you, Davina Kate.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to join our Kabbalah class and they are an Adept Initiate, they've done Empower Thyself, but they haven't yet done Healer's Academy, is there a chance for them to still get in before we start this Kabbalah Ascension journey?
Luckily, we work in the realms of magic, so yes. We will make it happen. I know there are still some people, thinking about that. So on a serious note, they would be really very welcome. Healers Academy starts on the 18th of October till the 22nd of October. If you would like to attend and you haven't signed up, you would be welcome to come. We have a few more places, so that's fine. And then, of course, once you're in Healers Academy and you've completed Healers Academy, you're actually certified for a whole entire year. So you would be completely, that certification then would be there throughout your Kabbalah Ascension. So, because we've been talking about PID and everything, so not to get confused. If you're a new Healers Academy graduate, then you are covered for until next October, and they'll explain. The panel will explain all about that in Healers Academy. But you would be eligible to attend Kabbalah all the way through. Yes, and if oh yes, so.
Well, there's also, if they are in North America, there's also the Toronto program that's happening in November. So they can go to modernmysteryschoolint.com and look up that calendar for those details as well. And there are Kabbalah classes also starting in the States with some of the other Kabbalah teachers certified by the Mystery School. I believe Aaron Wallace is starting one maybe in January.
I think we just started one last week.
They just started one in Boston area. And, hopefully we'll get some more going stateside at some point next year as well, but nothing solid at the moment. So if you, the Toronto November program is also in time to still join our Kabbalah class as well.
Yes. Thank you for that. That's a great top tip. Somebody's asking on here, if we're going to Healers next week, are we discussing Kabbalah during the program? You might not have time, but I know I can tell you a little secret that there might be some very senior Kabbalah teachers milling around and in the program. And you never know, you might get lucky and ask them a question, maybe, or if they're up in front of the class, you can ask them. But yeah.
And you'll be open for registration all the way through the program, right?
We are open for registration, yes. If you go to the website, it gives you clear instructions, but let me just give you the email. It's admin@modernmysteryschooluk.com, and you can just email us. We will send you an application form, to fill out. And then once we have received that back, we will present it to Ipsissima Theresa and Martina, and they'll go through it. And then they'll say, yes, you can join the tree, or maybe, you know, whatever they say. And then we will complete the registration at that point. And we can talk you through that. And we're very happy to talk to you if you need some help with, you know, how to do it, or if you're not sure how to register, we'll walk you through the whole process. So, you know, don't be afraid to ask, because we're very approachable, and we're here to help. So anything like that, we can help you with and support you.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, every time I've taught in London, I have always had this amazing experience where it is such a unity of international people from all over the world. Yeah, all over, not just all over UK and Europe, but even all the way from Australia, from the States, from Canada. I mean, people come in from all over the world to partake of the energies, you know, the keys that are anchored in London headquarters there. And so I'm really looking forward to this Kabbalah Ascension journey and weaving a whole new foundation of Kabbalah within our work that we're doing in the lineage as we begin this journey in London. So very much looking forward to co-teaching with Martina and Davina Kate. And we have a whole team of people supporting this particular program. So I know it's going to be a really important one.
Exciting.
Thank you so much for your generosity with your time, with your wisdom, your dedication to sharing this light and service. You know, it doesn't go unnoticed, because you know, we're truly blessed. And if I may just give everybody, you know, I'm famous for saying a top tip is jump on the train. Jump on the train. Because we are in a very exciting time in the world. And for me, if you can have that set of tools, that map, you're going to get to where you are supposed to be much quicker. And that's going to be good for all of us. We get to Shambhala quicker. And of course, you get to, you know, have a joyous and amazing adventure, as I have had and still am having along the way. And I truly want that for everybody. So I am very grateful to Ipsissima Theresa and Martina for your generosity and your kindness and sharing these tools. And we are very much looking forward to welcoming you in December. So thank you.
And thank you, Divinity Kate, for organizing this opportunity for us to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And, you know, I have to say this. I know we're wrapping up, but I just have to say that this analogy of the train leaving the station has been with us all year long. I even talked about it in my 2023 numerology forecast. I do these Kabbalistic numerology forecasts at the beginning of every year. And it was about the bullet, the speed train that is going to be shooting off from the station. And sometime this year, it's like we have this final opportunity to get on board. And then it came up again mid-year, and it's come up again. It just keeps coming up. So I feel like we're the end of this year is okay. The train is pulling out of the station. So get on board, guys. It's going to be an exciting ride, and we look forward to joining you in that journey.
Yeah, really do. And I just have to end on this comment, I think. Thank you. How amazing. And yes, Australia will be representing, because we do have somebody traveling in from Australia. So take care for everybody. Enjoy the replay. I hope you've enjoyed it if you've been watching live, and we'll see you all again very soon. Take care for now.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.